A serious mental health concern that's endangering children. Earlier this month, Aurora police said they saw 7 young people attempt to take their own lives in the span of a week. The oldest was 16, the youngest just 8 years old. Dr. Sheryl Ziegler joins me now, and she's a psychologist, our 9 News parenting expert. Dr. Ziegler, in Colorado, suicide is the #1 cause of death for people ages 10 to 14, and that's a number we all need to somehow process in our brain, but that's shocking.
It is shocking, and it should shock everybody who hears that. In the country, it's typically the second leading cause of death, but in our state in particular, it's the first. So people have wondered about this for a while. Why is this? And we don't have all of the answers, but we do know that Colorado tends to get suicide clusters, and that just means that, once a suicide has occurred in a community, we tend to see more of them. I think from a child's perspective, they think, well, that was a solution to their problem. Maybe that could be a solution to my problem. So we need to be very sensitive in general, but particularly if it's happened in your community, meeting that child's school or your neighborhood or just even your county.
And then there's that debate, over years, for a long time, people didn't even talk about it. And then those involved in the effort say, please talk about it. So remind us of some of the risk factors and talk about the impact that the pandemic has had as well.
Yeah, the pandemic has been, even a greater mental health crisis than I think anybody could have predicted. We are in really record numbers of just about every negative category: depression, suicide, anxiety, social isolation. We have got a lot going on. Kids are really, in particular, really suffering. So what I will say is, especially right now, while it feels like maybe we're turning the corner and things are getting, better and restrictions are loosening up, we're going to be dealing with the consequences of the mental health crisis they predict really for years to come. So signs that you want to look for with your child are things like keeping themselves isolated in their rooms, not being participatory in things that you're doing in your family, not having an interest in things they're normally interested in, putting social media posts out there that are saying things maybe like, I love you all, or goodbye, things like that. So those are some of the top things that we see. And of course, social isolation. If your child is continuing to be socially isolated and not connecting with others, it's a huge just red flag in general.
And now we're coming into the summer months, so it's really keen and important that parents are paying attention. So if they recognize one of those things that you just mentioned, what's a parent to do?
So the first thing you want to do is take it seriously. And while that sounds really easy to do, I think a lot of times parents can either dismiss it, sometimes they can miss the opportunity to talk about it, or they tend to say things like, don't be ridiculous, you have such a good life, you're very loved. So they try to talk them out of, sort of making a ridiculous statement. So first and foremost, just take it seriously, respond with empathy, and make sure that you've got a community of support around that child. So it might be encouraging them to be social, it might be encouraging them to try to reach out to new friends, and it might even be getting them professional help if you feel that these yellow or red flags have been going on for a while and nothing is improving.
All those so important. Thank you for talking to us, Dr. Ziegler. And we're going to show the number on the screen for the National Suicide Prevention Line.